Hey, all you cool cats, ready for a little fun? That's what I thought. Pop Talk, Scooby-Doo-Wah-Doo-Wah, Pop Talk. The fun never stops, you know. Pop Talk, if you're a nerd or a jock, run, don't just walk. Get ready to rock, you got Pop Talk.
Now, from Funko Hollywood, it's time for Pop Talk.
Hey everybody, it's your pal Funmaker Mike. We're back for another episode of Pop Talk. You're not going to believe who we have in the studio today. My friend and yours, Danny DeVito.
Ha!
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I love this place. This is fun. I'm telling you, it's a great place.
Hey, why don't you build a pop? It can be anything you want. Just play with the pieces. It can be you, it can be alter ego you, it can be anything you want.
Oh.
Just have fun with it.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Do you, Danny DeVito, collect anything?
When I was a kid, I used to collect model cars.
Yeah.
I used to make you get the kit.
Yeah,
you put the pieces, all the pieces would be, and you put them together, and you'd make you'd make a 1949 Buick, or something like that, and then you would chop and channel it.
Yeah.
So you take the car and you'd take the hood ornament off, and it would have holes, and then you would fill it with the plastic thing, and you sand it, and you would, paint it. I did that in comic books. I did a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah, pretty much the same.
What was your comic book?
It was Archie, which is
Archie.
Weird. Yeah. And
Come on.
Richie Rich for some reason.
Richie Rich,
Hot
Archie.
Stuff.
Yeah. This is working, buddy, man.
What's your favorite Disney character then?
Well, okay, I did a Disney cartoon, I must admit. I had a great time doing it. It was called Hercules.
Okay.
And I played a guy, which I don't know if that's how you say his name. Okay, I'm from New Jersey. But it's Philip Tatis. I played a satyr who was always after all the nymphs. And I got to sing a song.
Ring the bell for once, not the gong.
What was your first job before becoming an actor?
The first job I ever had, I was 14 years old. You can get your working papers in New Jersey. I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey. It was the kiddie rides down, Asbury Park was full of kiddie rides. It was really great. It was a summer job. And my job basically was to take the ticket from usually the parent or the guardian or somebody, and help them put the child, the little one, into either a automobile with a steering wheel and a horn, or a fire engine with a bell.
Yeah. And
my big job was to push a button and then go ring the bell, toot the horn.
Yeah.
Hello. That was it. It was it was on 2nd Avenue in Asbury on the boardwalk. And, you walk down the boardwalk and get yourself a cone of French fries with the vinegar, salt and vinegar.
Wow.
Ah, God.
Okay, what was the most earliest memory you have as a kid like a movie that changed you and made you maybe think maybe I want to do this?
I was in love with movies from the time I was a little kid, never really thinking that I could be in one or want it or didn't want. I didn't really know what they were. I just knew that when the lights went down, I was transported into a new place. The movie that really made me want to direct was much later. I had gone to acting school, and I was still an avid moviegoer, and I went to the Thalia up in New York, up on the Upper West Side, a little art house, and they played a movie by Giulio Pontecorvo, and it was called The Battle of Algiers, and that is a movie that stuck with me. I mean, I always, I dug movies, like I say, all different genres, because I think it's good to see all different genres. It gives you like an eclectic kind of feel for what goes on in the business. But that movie really struck me as how did he do it, And boy, do I want to find out.
So what year did Cuckoo's Nest come out?
74.
Like, in terms of scary and wicked characters, what was it, Nurse Ratched? From
Well,
One
she
Flew
was-
Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
She was as scary as they get. I
Yeah.
mean, like, manipulative, just sadistic, and we were innocent, guys who were trying to figure out our lives. And that's why, Cuckoo's Nest is about that's why it was so popular, I believe. It was, that whole feeling of like oppression and everything. And we all feel the pressure in life. Everybody does. Every day you feel pressure. And then when you have somebody who's in authority, who's putting on more pressure, she wasn't helping us at all. We were all, all had our little idiosyncrasies and foibles and problems and mental, issues. She was not helping at all. The great thing about that movie is you see that the guy who is a guy who's coming from incarceration, Jack Nicholson's character McMurphy, he ironically does more good for these guys than this scary Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, I hated her.
Put her on the list.
Yeah.
She was evil. Ken Kesey wrote a great character.
Who are your comedy heroes?
Comedy heroes, in the early days, like I said, Martin Lewis. I loved all the antics and the craziness of that. But W.C. Fields and Laurel and Hardy, comic geniuses. Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Running around chasing people.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And anytime anybody slipped on a banana, come on.
Yeah. It's still funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
What would you define as your big break?
I would have to say Taxi. When I did Cuckoo's Nest, I became, in the industry, with casting directors and some directors and stuff like that, I was known as an actor who was in a solid movie that won 1 million Academy Awards. But Taxi was the break in 1978, and I read it and I loved it immediately. And the casting director brought me there. Nobody really knew me. They were all sitting around this really fancy office, the producers, and there was a chair, and that's the hot seat, and you got to go and sit there and do your audition. And I walk in, they introduce me as Danny DeVito. This is Jim Brooks, Ed Weinberger, Stan Daniels, Dave Davis, all these mucky mucks from, they've done brilliant work in there. And I had the script in my hand. And I said, one thing I want to know before we start, who wrote this shit? And I threw it on the table.
Yeah.
And I took one step in total terror. And then they just laughed their behinds off. And I knew that there was nothing I could do wrong.
Yeah.
I could say, end, and I get a laugh.
Yeah.
It was one of those really crazy things. That show was my big break.
And working with Andy Kaufman and stuff, was there
it was
a lot of
amazing.
off-camera stuff that was...
So many things. I was a fan of Andy's from early on, from when he did the bongos on Saturday. He did all these great, crazy things on Saturday Night Live. And before we went to work, the producers all warned us about him. They said it's going to be a little weird. And first of all, Andy had a great contract. He didn't have to come work. He only worked 2 days a week. We would shoot on a Friday night. Andy didn't have to come to work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to rehearse. So we had a guy who used to do his blocking with a sign on it that said Andy. So it was kind of weird. But that was kind of part of the whole, Andy's whole thing was weird. He had this guy, his alter ego. You know about this?
Yeah. Kind of like
Tony Clifton.
Yeah.
He was
Got real obnoxious.
Oh my God. He was the most obnoxious. In Andy's contract, we had to give Tony 2 shots. He had to get 2 parts. So Weinberger, one of the producers, comes up to me in the commissary. He says, "Danny, how you doing?" I said, "I'm good. I'm eating my salad." And he says, "We've been trying to cast this part of Brother Rat, who is Louis' brother." "Ah, great. So it's going to be like a Louis show." Very excited. Yeah, good. But he said, "We want Tony Clifton to play the part." And I said, "Tony Clifton, but Tony Clifton is Andy's alter." "Yeah, he's going to play the part." I said, "Oh, Andy's going to play the part as Tony." He said, No. Tony Clifton is going to play the part." So I said, "What do you mean?" And he explained it to me, that when Andy is in Tony Clifton's character, he's not Andy. I finish my salad. I say, "Fine, let's do it." We go to work. First 3 days, he's like impossible. Tony Clifton is almost like you'd run out of the room. He'd insult everybody in the room. Didn't matter who. He would insult snide, awful, get on the set. "Give me one of your cards." Yeah, you go like this. And we're trying to do the scenes. You go, I'm gonna change this line. I don't like the way it's written. Whoever wrote it ought to go home. Okay, it's about my mother. I'm gonna read it, and this is the way I'm gonna do it. So if you want to record this and cut out the paper, you can. This is the way he was. Right? She cries when she's happy. She cries when she's sad. Who knows what to think about her? It's like that kind of thing. It was like crazy. So they say, we can't. It's Wednesday. We're shooting on Friday. He doesn't know one line. He doesn't know where to go. And he's in the whole show. What do you want to do? They hire Richie Ferengi, great guy, great actor, to play his part. But they don't tell anybody. They have to call Andy. We were there. They made the call. Andy is doing a college date in Chicago. He's not even in LA. Make believe, quote unquote. So they call him up. He's on the phone. Hi, everybody. Hi, this is Ed Weinberger. I'm, Jim's here and Danny's here and so and so. Listen, I'm sorry, Andy. We're gonna have to fire Tony. And there's like trauma. No, you can't fire him because I'm trying to make people think he's a good actor, and if you fire him on a taxi on a big show like that, everybody's going to think he can't act. You can't do it. Can you fire him because he's late? Okay, but we got to fire him tomorrow. We're putting a new guy in. Cut to the day. We're all waiting. Everybody knew he was going to get fired that day. They had photographers there. He had the press there. Andy had George Shapiro, reps his soul, great manager, had everybody waiting. It was all set up. We're like schmoes out in the middle, right? Judd is like losing his mind. He's going crazy. And Andy comes in with 2 hookers, the shortest, scantest outfit, and they've got presents for everybody. Little presents. And they give them to us. And Ed Weinberg comes down with his sleeves rolled up. "Look, Tony, you're late. It's all on camera somewhere. You're late. We have to fire. You got to get out." "I'm not leaving. Security guards come, pulling him out, dragging him out of the set. And he's yelling at us. "You'll never work Vegas." "I know. I got friends." And they take him out and they put him in a car.
You guys ever go to Vegas? You're not getting in.
And all the roles you've had, what do you feel like was the one you were the most confident in and then the least?
Well, the one of the toughest ones, I think, was the Penguin.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of elements. First of all, Tim and I had a lot of conversations about it. I wanted it to be operatic. He did too. We were really connected on that movie, and you know, I wanted to, you know, Oswald, the bird that cannot fly, you know, raised by penguins, rejected by his family, you know, all of these elements inside, you know, the life that he had to lead, and we wanted it to be, you know, Tim draws, and he already had like the concept of what Oswald should look like, and it really stuck with me. I went, oh my God, that's scary, and you know, how are we going to do this? And we went through stages and stages with different made models of my body, and we did all kinds of things, and they put these beads, and how was it going to move right, and what was going to be the hard part of the solid part, and what was going to be the mushy part, and then the face. And we had V. Neal, who was one of the greatest makeup artists in the world. I'd get there at 5 o'clock in the morning with a tea in my hand, and I'd sit my face in the steam of the tea and just go, oh, you know, like, the first day was always a stroke of wet glue across my nose and down my cheek and under my nose and up around here. Then she would put the prosthetic on, and she'd do this. It was great. That felt good. And then she would smooth it, and she'd put the powder on it. And at that moment, Oswald was feeling good.
When you jumped into the director's chair, and you were also starred in Throw Mama from the Train, I love that. The night was sultry.
That night was
sultry.
Anne Ramsey.
Yeah.
Oh God, what a woman. She was the best. I tell you, I actually worked with her once in Going South, a movie that Jack Nicholson directed in Mexico. I didn't know it. I mean, I knew she was there, but everything. And I said, I worked with Anne Ramsey. She was the woman in Goonies.
Yeah.
Goonies? Holy Toledo. We watch Goonies all the time. I said, get her in here. They say Anne Ramsey's here. Oh, okay, let me go. I was with the art director. Right. I run in, and hey, Danny! Anne! Oh my God! Give me a kiss! I know, I had some trouble here. Give me a kiss. She grabbed me, gave me a big kiss, and I said, Dan, don't move. Do not move an inch. I ran into Billy Crystal and Jerry Bresner, and I said, stop what you're doing. I want you to meet Mama. And I brought him in there, and it was like,
that's a great story.
Man, she was the absolute best.
Beat it, Shep! Larry!
Name someone in the industry who you think deserves more of a spotlight, is an unsung hero. You know anybody like that?
Lucy. And I think Lucy is really one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. In fact, we're going to do, we're going to work together more and more. In fact, next year we're going to do a Broadway show. And you know, I know there's a lot of talk about nepotism in the business and all that stuff. This is like truly, since the time she was on stage in high school, I always knew she had the goods. I saw her do Crazy Things, and I saw her do Neil LaBute, wild, you know, concentrated. Neil LaBute is like a scary playwright, and I think she's gonna have her own day, own moment in the sun.
First of all, what did you build? Did you build anything?
I built this.
You want to throw some hair on this
I'm
guy?
gonna put some hair
let's
on
build
it
together.
I want to do blonde. You got a blonde?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a blonde. Oh yeah. And how's that? How's that?
I like it.
It's like kind of like.
What are you gonna give the what are you gonna name her?
What am I gonna name her? I'm gonna call her Gigi.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, sir. I had an
I had a great
unbelievable
time.
Thank you very
Yeah, me
much.
too.
And I want to finish this episode. This is a little different. We're going to bring Lucy over here one last time. Come on
Okay.
over, because I was so touched by your answer about Unsung Hero and who you think is the next big thing. And I think that's it. Come on out. Hey, everybody. We're wrapping up this episode of Pop Talk here with Danny DeVito and Lucy DeVito. Check her out. Check out Little Demon, everybody. That wraps up this episode. Thank you.
Peace. Hey.